Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel for a Chelsea news video with a little sentimental spin once again regarding my thoughts on the stories, how it kind of links in and explains some other elements of current stories going around at Chelsea. There is a lot of talk, there is a lot of people making videos, there is a lot of speculation, which is always something in football we have to deal with whether we agree with it or not. These noises can sometimes have detrimental impacts on how it affects a squad, how it affects managers' futures, and what things really mean for the progression of our clubs. So, as much as we're going to talk about the news today, I really want to focus on how this can impact how Chelsea move forward, which is something I always preach about, but at the end of the day, this is just my channel where I give my thoughts. I ask for your thoughts in the comments below, and having read nearly 2,000 comments, or over 2,000 comments in the last 2 days worth of content, I can see that there is a serious frustration right now with Chelsea fans. We don't know whether it's all Tuchel's tactics, whether it's just the players, whether it's the Lukaku thing, what is going on. But some of the stories that I want to discuss today are kind of proof, in a way, if there are truth behind some of the stories, that the club is currently backing the manager. But we're going to begin with two bits of news about two players being reported who Chelsea have supposedly expressed interest in recent times. The first of which is Sergiño Dest. Sergiño Dest is a fullback or a wingback who can play on both the right or the left, some would say. A perfect target for a Chelsea team who are currently without their best right wingback, their best left wingback, with a left wingback who we don't fully trust, and a right wing-back in Azpilicueta who, at this moment in time, just cannot replace what Reece James was bringing to the team, which was so fundamental to the early success in Chelsea's season this year with the system that we're playing under Thomas Tuchel. Sergiño Dest was one of those players. Chelsea have been linked with Dest throughout the entirety of this January window, and his agent has come out and said that he's not going to be leaving for Chelsea. Until Chelsea were to make any progressive talks with Dest, at this moment in time, it is a massive question about whether or not the club are backing Thomas Tuchel. When Tuchel knows, when everybody in the footballing world can see that right now, Chelsea could do with some replacements, and yet we don't see the board in the middle of January with 11 days left of the window, when we're not making any progressions for players in these positions, you just wonder whether or not any of this is going to happen, for a start, and B, do we think that the board are actually going to back Thomas Tuchel? We are left with this, the classic put your hands to the side, you don't know what's going on, question mark, question mark, question mark. But if we can rule out Dest, then surely it narrows down those potential signings, it narrows down Chelsea's options, and the more I think about it, the more it pushes towards if there's going to be any solution to Chelsea in terms of bringing in a player in this window, then the most obvious one that I can think of is Emerson Palmieri coming back from Lyon from his loan and coming back to Chelsea. In terms of the updates for that right now, Emerson is wanting to come back, supposedly. They're trying to work out a way where they can actually be a deal that Lyon are happy with. Lyon have got Emerson, he's playing for them, they don't want to see him leave because Chelsea's situation is bad, because then they lose one of their players, they lose one of their defenders. Chelsea were reportedly offering 4 million in compensation. Lyon rejected it, they want to keep the player. I guess it's up to Chelsea how much Thomas Tuchel is pushing, saying we really need something, and if we're not going to buy someone, then I really need Emerson back. How much is Tuchel going to push that? Or are the club just totally blocking anything in advance of a 4 million compensation package from Chelsea to Lyon for Emerson to come back to the Blues? Sergiño Dest is not coming, according to the current reports, so who could possibly come? There were talks about Kurzawa, who, to be honest, if Thomas Tuchel says he doesn't want Kurzawa, then I don't see the club going for him. Paris Saint-Germain were open to seeing Kurzawa leave the club in January, but Thomas Tuchel doesn't want him. So therefore, if the club aren't going for him as like a safe, available option, then we can see, on the flip side of any of this, we could argue that that is the club supporting Thomas Tuchel by not just bringing in players he doesn't want, But then if they're not bringing in the players he does want, then are they supporting him at all? It is such a questionable merry-go-round of potential options that we could all discuss as Chelsea fans right now. But if we focus on the black and white, according to the reports, Sergio Dest is not going to be coming to Chelsea. There were also reports, and we spoke about it here on GBFC a couple of months ago, saying that Chelsea were interested in the next Kai Havertz, Florian Wirtz from Bayer Leverkusen. There's a lot of repetition here with the Havertz story. Florian Wirtz is having a good season. He's very, very young. He's a decent player. And at the moment, when Chelsea are attracted or reportedly interested in attacking players, I'm thinking, yeah, you know what? This might solve our problem. A few months ago, I was saying, why would we continue to be linked with these kind of players, playing down rumours, thinking, well, we've got 7 wingers, attackers, whatever you want to call them, whatever positions they're playing at the club. We got 7 or 8 of them. Like, why do we need any more? Adding another name into this mix is just going to be an issue, right? And when we talk about the Dembele story in a moment, you will see how this conundrum just becomes even more interesting in the Chelsea stratosphere right now. But Liverpool are now the favourites to sign Florian Wirtz. We move into Eden Hazard. I've not spoken about Hazard for a little while. I'm sure in the last 10 videos I've mentioned him once or twice because I often tend to do that because of the romantic nature of the Hazard return story and how much I personally would adore to see the man return to where he belongs, in my opinion. But Eden Hazard reportedly rejected a move to Newcastle, and with only 11 days to go in the transfer window, Chelsea haven't made any official moves yet. We've got to look at this in black and white. Chelsea have not actually approached to sign Eden Hazard. It has been tabloid newspapers reporting fees that Real Madrid would accept 23 million or something along those lines. But you've also got the fact that Hazard has come into, not form, but a little bit of form in comparison to what we've been used to from him in recent years. And Carlo Ancelotti has said that they could still see him play a big part in Real Madrid's second half of the season, competing on all fronts. So Eden Hazard's return to Chelsea, as much as you guys know, I'm very much the romantic in this story. I don't think it's going to happen. There's no way in the next 11 days we're going to see Chelsea push for it. With the final story of this video, it makes a lot more feasible sense if Chelsea were to be going for a winger in this window, which I think would be ludicrous despite the attackers not doing so well. We spoke about that for the entirety of yesterday's video. You should go give it a watch if you haven't already. If Chelsea are going to go for anyone in this window, I believe that it has to be a wing-back. It's exactly the position right now we are struggling in. The wing-backs are also part of the reason why Chelsea's attacking fluidity and dynamism doesn't exist right now, because of the quality of the players needed to play in the system that Tuchel is putting us out to play. So, Eden Hazard, it's not going to happen. I'm going to put the point out there right now before you guys think I'm living in a dream world. It isn't going to happen. But the final story of the day, it has been reported that Chelsea are willing to offer Ousmane Dembele a way out of Barcelona, maybe in January. Chelsea are one of 3 clubs who have reportedly offered Dembele's agents some big money in order to bring Dembele to Chelsea. Barcelona, Xavi has said, and the way that Barcelona deal with these things, with the bluntness of their replies regarding their players, is comical, in my opinion. But Xavi has basically said, if Dembele is not going to sign a new deal, then we need to find a way out of Barcelona for Dembele this January. So when we see Chelsea's attacking issues, when we know the history of Thomas Tuchel loving Dembele, saying he's the most talented footballer he's ever worked with, Dembele might just have to leave Barcelona. He's not going to sign a new deal, and the manager's publicly said that if he doesn't sign a new deal, then he's got to try and find a way out this month. With Chelsea's current issues, despite everything I just said about the club prioritising, or should having to prioritise, a wing-back, is it an unforeseeable crazy idea that we might actually go in the final 10 days and think, well, attack is our problem, Dembele, Barcelona want to sell him, Tuchel wants him, let's go and get him. I actually think that in terms of the crazy current Chelsea merry-go-round of not knowing what's happening, bad results, issues here, issues there, people not looking happy in that forward line, I honestly would not be surprised if we actually went in for Dembele in the final 10 days of this transfer window. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. I've given my reasons in the past as to why I could never be fully excited by the Dembele signing because his injury record resembles that of another player currently in the Chelsea ranks called Christian Pulisic, who's often injured. So maybe this could be, if it happens, adding another condiment to the soup that just makes the soup taste a little bit sour. And the soup, of course, is Chelsea's attack and inconsistencies right now. So this video today, like I said, is difficult to make news without kind of relating it back to all of our different hypotheses that we have about Chelsea Football Club right now. It's very difficult to not give these kind of rounded opinions of speculation within different thoughts of how things are going at Chelsea. But let me know your thoughts on all of today's Chelsea news stories in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all tomorrow. Come on, you Blues.